I got the shock of my life when I heard my mother-in-law that visited us is already dead. That night, the rain was heavy. My husband Chinedu and I were eating in the sitting room when we heard a loud knock. Knock, knock, knock. Slow, heavy. Chinedu frowned. Who could be coming by this time? I stood up and peeped through the curtain, and my heart nearly stopped. It was my mother-in-law, Mama Ifeoma. She was standing outside, soaked in the rain, holding a small nylon bag. She looked straight at me and said calmly, "Open the door." Chinedu rushed and opened it. "Mama." She walked in without greeting anybody. She dropped the nylon bag on the floor and sat down like she owned the world. Then she looked at me and said, "Ngozi, you've added weight. Is it pregnancy, or you are just wasting my son's money?" I forced a smile, but something about her was strange. Her skin looked pale. Her eyes looked too cold. Chinedu asked, "Mama, why did you come?" She stared at the wall and replied quietly, "I came because somebody in this house is hiding something." My chest tightened. That night, she insisted on sleeping in our guest room. But around midnight, I heard footsteps. Slow footsteps, back and forth. Then she stopped at my bedroom door and whispered, "Ngozi, wake up." My eyes opened sharply. Chinedu was sleeping beside me. I didn't answer. Then she whispered again, "Wake up, before they bury me." My whole body went cold. Before they bury her? I gathered courage and opened the door quickly, but nobody was there. The hallway was empty. The next morning, I went to the kitchen and I screamed. There was blood on the floor, fresh blood, and it was leading straight to the guest room. My hands were shaking as I followed it. When I opened the door, Mama Ifeoma was sitting on the bed like nothing happened. She looked at me and smiled. "You saw it, right?" she asked. I whispered, "Mama, what is that blood?" She stood up and walked close to me. Then she whispered into my ear, "Your husband knows." My heart stopped. I ran back to the sitting room. "Chinedu, something is wrong with your mother." But Chinedu looked irritated. "Stop overreacting, Ngozi." I froze. Overreacting? Then his phone rang. It was his elder brother, Ugo. He picked the call, but as he listened, his face slowly turned pale. "What?" he shouted. Then he screamed, "What do you mean Mama died 3 days ago?" My body went weak. The phone fell from his hand. I grabbed it and I heard Ugo's voice clearly. "Chinedu, Mama is dead. We buried her this morning in the village." I turned slowly, and there she was. Mama Ifeoma was standing behind us. But she looked different now. Her skin was grey, her eyes were darker, and her smile was wicked. Chinedu stepped back shaking. "Mama!" Mama Ifeoma raised her hand and slapped Chinedu hard. Pa! Chinedu fell to the ground. Then she looked at me and said something that shattered my soul. "Ngozi, your husband killed me." My breath caught. Chinedu started crying. "No, Mama, please." But she pointed at him and said, "You poisoned me because of my land documents." I gasped and turned to Chinedu. "Chinedu, is it true?" He began shaking. Then he confessed, "I didn't mean to. Ubu and I needed the land. We needed the money." My knees went weak. So my husband killed his own mother. Mama Ifeoma stepped closer. "But I didn't come for him alone," she whispered. Then she stared at my stomach. "I came for the baby you're carrying." My hand flew to my belly. I wasn't even showing yet, and nobody knew I was pregnant. Nobody, except me and Chinedu. I whispered, "How did you know?" She pointed at the nylon bag she brought. "Open it." My hand shook as I opened it. Inside was a small cloth wrapped around something. I unwrapped it slowly, and I screamed. It was a tiny coffin, a baby coffin, and on it was written, "Unborn child." Chinedu screamed and crawled backward. Mama Ifeoma's voice became cold and heavy. "You buried me." She stepped closer. "But tonight, one of you will follow me." Suddenly, the lights went off. Darkness filled the house. Then I felt a cold breath near my ear, and Mama Ifeoma whispered, "Your revenge starts now." I tried to scream, but my voice refused to come out. When I woke up the next morning, my whole body felt heavy. I turned to my husband's side of the bed. Chinedu was gone. The bed was cold. I jumped up immediately. "Chinedu!" I shouted. No answer. I ran into the sitting room and froze. The front door was open, and the nylon bag my mother-in-law came with last night was still on the floor. I rushed to it and opened it with shaking hands. but the baby coffin was gone. My heart nearly stopped. Then I saw something on the floor. A note, written with black ink. Check the kitchen. My legs felt weak as I walked to the kitchen, and the moment I entered, I screamed. The blood stain from last night had disappeared. The floor was clean, but in the middle of the tiles, there was a strange symbol drawn with ash, a circle and a cross inside it. I stepped back in fear. Then I heard a voice behind me, soft and urgent. Ngozi, don't step on it. I turned sharply. It was my neighbor, Auntie Rose, but she didn't look normal. Her face was pale, like she hadn't slept. Auntie Rose, I whispered, what are you doing in my house? She closed the kitchen door gently and said, your husband didn't go missing. He ran away. My chest tightened. Ran away? Why? Auntie Rose swallowed hard. Because your mother-in-law did not come to punish him alone. I froze. What do you mean? She leaned closer and whispered, your mother-in-law was murdered and your husband is involved. My whole body shook. No, Chinedu can't. Auntie Rose pulled out her phone and showed me a picture. It was a burial photo, my mother-in-law's coffin, people crying. But what made my blood run cold was this. Chinedu and his elder brother Ugo were standing beside the grave, smiling. I covered my mouth. This can't be true. Auntie Rose nodded slowly. They poisoned her because of her land documents. My stomach twisted. Then she pointed at my belly. And your pregnancy is part of it. I froze completely. How did you know I'm pregnant? Auntie Rose's voice dropped. Mama Ifelma found out you are pregnant. She wanted to change her will and leave everything for your unborn child. My eyes filled with tears. Then I remembered all the strange questions Chinedu had been asking me recently. Are you sure you're not pregnant? Have you told anyone? So, he knew, and he didn't tell me. Suddenly, Auntie Rose grabbed my wrist. Ngozi, listen to me. That baby coffin is not just a threat. What is it then? I whispered. She looked around like the walls were listening. Then she said, it's a warning. They want that baby gone. My heart stopped. Before I could speak, we heard footsteps outside. Slow, dragging. My body froze. Auntie Rose's eyes widened. She's here, she whispered. Suddenly, the kitchen window shook violently. Bang, bang, bang. I screamed. Then a voice spoke from outside. But it wasn't Mama Ifelma's voice. It was deeper, male, angry. Open the door. My chest tightened. Then the voice said something that made my blood turn to ice. Ngozi, it's me, your father. I nearly fainted. My father? Impossible. My father died 10 years ago. I started shaking uncontrollably. Auntie Rose whispered quickly, don't listen. They use dead voices to scare people. This family is into something dark. Suddenly, the knocking stopped. Silence. Then the back door creaked open by itself, slowly. A cold wind entered the kitchen, and with it came a rotten smell, like something dead. Then Mama Ifelma walked in. But this time, she looked worse. Her wrapper was dirty, her feet were muddy, and her neck had rope marks, like she was strangled. She stared at me and smiled. Ngozi? I couldn't move, I couldn't scream. Then she looked at Auntie Rose and her voice became sharp. This woman is lying to you. Auntie Rose stepped back. Mama Ifelma. Mama Ifelma's eyes darkened. Then she said slowly, you think you don't know me. Auntie Rose began to shake. Then Mama Ifelma turned back to me and said the words that shattered me. Ngozi, Auntie Rose is the one who gave them the poison. I screamed. What? Auntie Rose fell on her knees immediately. I didn't want to. They promised me money. Tears ran down my face. My own neighbor betrayed me. Mama Ifelma walked closer to me. Then she whispered in my ear, your husband thinks he escaped. She smiled, but I can't follow him anywhere. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. A message entered. Unknown number. I opened it and screamed. It was a picture of Chinedu, tied to a chair, his mouth covered, his eyes begging for help. Behind him was a graveyard. Then another message entered. Come to the village before midnight, or your baby will be buried alive. My legs gave way. I dropped the phone. I started crying. Then Mama Ifelma leaned close to my ear and said, tonight, you will choose who dies. And before I could blink, she vanished. I didn't even pack a bag. I grabbed my phone, my car key, and ran out of the house. My hands were shaking as I drove to the village, crying. That message kept replaying in my head like a curse. Come before midnight or your baby will be buried alive. Chinedo's phone was switched off, and fear was eating me alive. By the time I arrived, it was 11:47 p.m. The village was too quiet. No dogs, No generator sound. Even the moon looked like it was hiding. I parked near Mama Ifeoma's compound and stepped down. Fresh footprints covered the sand, like people had been moving around. Then I heard it. A soft humming, a burial song. I followed the sound behind the compound and my blood ran cold. A lantern was burning, and beside it was a freshly dug grave. My legs almost gave way. Then I heard muffled sounds. Someone was inside a sack, rolling on the ground. I rushed closer and screamed. It was Chinedu, hands tied, mouth covered, face swollen like he had been beaten. I untied him quickly. Chinedu, who did this? He grabbed my wrist, shaking. Ngozi, run. But before he could finish, a cold voice spoke behind us. You came earlier than I expected. I turned, and my heart stopped. It was Ugo, Chinedu's elder brother, standing with 3 men holding cutlasses. Ugo smiled. Mama Ifeoma is dead. She's not the problem. Then he stepped closer. The problem is you. My chest tightened. Me? He nodded. That land you people want, something is buried there. Suddenly, the wind blew hard. The lantern flickered. Then I heard a familiar voice behind me. Ngozi? My whole body froze. I turned slowly, and there she was, Mama Ifeoma, standing under a tree. But behind her were 2 women dressed in white. Their eyes were blank like spirits. Chinedu started shaking. Mama Ifeoma's voice thundered. You buried me and thought it was finished. Ugo panicked. Mama, forgive me. It was Chinedu's idea. Chinedu screamed. Liar! Mama Ifeoma raised her hand, and Ugo's mouth sealed shut instantly. Then she faced me. Ngozi, you were the only one I trusted. Tears rolled down my face. Mama, I didn't know. She nodded. I know. Then she pointed at the grave. Dig it. My hands trembled as I grabbed the shovel. I started digging. The men tried to stop me but couldn't move, like something was holding them. Then my shovel hit something hard. Kwa! A wooden box. Old. Locked. Mama Ifeoma whispered, Open it. I forced it open and screamed. Inside were land papers, a bag of money, and pictures of pregnant women. Dead, all of them. Then I saw the last picture. It was me, taken secretly. My knees hit the ground. No, no! Mama Ifeoma's voice turned cold. Ugo has been killing pregnant women for years. Chinedu cried, I didn't know, I swear. Mama Ifeoma turned to him. But you helped poison me. Chinedu begged, Mama, please forgive me. She stared at him, then whispered, You want forgiveness? He nodded. Then take my place. Suddenly, the ground shook. The grave opened wide like it was alive. Chinedu screamed. I grabbed his hand, but invisible hands dragged him down. Ngozi, help me! His hand slipped, and in seconds, Chinedu disappeared. The sand covered itself instantly, like nothing happened. I screamed until my throat burned. Mama Ifeoma faced Ugo. She raised her hand again. Ugo's mouth opened, but instead of words, a strange scream came out. Blood poured from his nose, and he died instantly. The 3 men ran away into the darkness. I crawled backwards in fear. Mama Ifeoma walked closer and touched my stomach gently. Your baby will live. I cried, Mama, why are you helping me? She smiled sadly. Because you didn't betray me. Then her eyes darkened. But my revenge is not complete. I shook. What do you mean? She pointed at the box. Take it to the police. Then she leaned close and whispered, Because the person who started everything, she paused, is not Ugo. My lips trembled. Then who? Mama Ifeoma smiled. It is your own mother. My mother? Before I could speak again, Mama Ifeoma vanished with the women in white. I sat there shaking. Then my phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. I opened it, and my blood ran cold. It was a picture of my mother standing beside Mama Ifeoma's coffin, smiling. And the message read, Welcome home, Ngozi. We have been waiting for you. I returned to the city, shaking and exhausted. Chinedu was gone, his betrayal, Ugo's death, and Mama Ifeoma's warning was still burning in my mind. But the moment I stepped into my house, I felt it. Something was off. The air smelled different, cold, heavy. Then I saw it, a small envelope on the dining table. No name, no handwriting I recognized. I opened it with trembling hands. Inside, a key and a note. The truth about your family is in the basement. Use the key wisely. My heart raced. The basement. I hadn't been down there since we moved in. I hesitated, but Mama Ifeoma's warnings echoed in my mind. The person that started everything is your own mother. I swallowed hard and unlocked the basement door. Darkness. Thick darkness. I flicked the light switch. Nothing. I took my phone and used its flashlight. The stairs creaked as I descended. At the bottom, I froze. The walls were covered in old photographs, newspaper clippings, and strange symbols. Then I saw her, my mother, standing in the corner, smiling, but her eyes were cold, dead. I stumbled back. Mother, what is this? Why? She stepped closer, calm, almost proud. You didn't know, did you, Ngozi? I shook my head, terrified. My father's death? Mama Ifeoma? The land? Chinedu? She nodded slowly. All part of the plan. Mama Ifeoma discovered me. That's why she came back from the grave. She tried to stop me. I felt bile rising. You killed her? She smiled. Not a sad smile, a victorious one. No, I let her come back, to choose who deserved to live. But she failed. Ugo failed. Chinedu failed. And now, it's your turn, Ngozi. I stepped back, my hand going to my stomach. My baby! Her eyes flicked to it, sharp and calculating. Yes, the child is the final piece, the one who will inherit everything, or be taken from this world. You decide which. My mind raced. I couldn't trust her, could I? Could I even trust myself? Suddenly, a cold wind blew through the basement. A whisper echoed in my ears. Mama Ifeoma is watching, Ngozi. She will guide your hand, but only if you are brave enough. I clenched my fists. I couldn't cry, couldn't run. I had to survive, because one wrong move, and it wouldn't just be my husband or brother-in-law that would die. It would be my child too. I looked at my mother, and I whispered through gritted teeth, You underestimated me, mother. This ends tonight. Her smile widened. You think so, child? Let's see if your heart is strong enough to survive the legacy of the dead. The basement went darker. Shadows danced across the walls. I realized the real game had just begun. And in the distance, I could feel Mama Ifeoma's presence, silent, watching, judging. The revenge wasn't over. Not yet. And this time, it was my turn to choose who lives and who dies.